I'm going to tell you about what happened before you in the dimension that you are in, the planet that was built, constructed in the place of Earth before Earth. Generally, as you know, and as I told you before, there happens both horizontal and vertical development. And dimensions in one dimension develop within itself. But this doesn't mean that a dimension will transform to another dimension. This means that that dimension will expand even more. In this way, it learns to use its existing capacity and creation in a stronger way. And because portals that are in between with other dimensions and the doors that souls will make to other dimensions will expand, more amount can pass. By saying amount, I mean, for example, 4 of them can pass at an instant, but 2 of them with high vibration can also pass. It can change its qualitative and the quantitative features within itself. And because its story is bigger, it allows much more transition. One of the aims, missions of the existence of all these dimensions is them having doors in the same plane and with the same width. Think about this. Think this way. There are the same doors in all dimensions from 1 to 24, and energy from 1 flows to all of them at the same moment. In this way, gods in all dimensions can experience oneness. This is the main cause of our existence. The planet before Earth was constructed matching the lowest consciousness system that can be in this dimension. In this way, it was going to be in the energy close to the dimension 1 level below. And us, we were going to be embed a planet, a structure from a dimension 1 level above. In this way, it will form the balance within the dimension itself and its relationship with other dimensions between the 2 dimensions. And thus, because the planet from the below levels is in the same dimension with the planet from the above dimensions, they are obliged to form an energy interchange with each other. When their energy hit each other, depending on the energy distribution there, other planets, stars, and systems born at that moment. In this way, lives in that planet begin to born. But understand one thing well, not lives from lower dimension or higher dimension, but lives that are completely particular to that dimensions are being there. In other words, lives from 11th dimension are not coming. They are born between these energies. These 2 planets act as an anchor, provide the communication and correlation, and also, in a way, make the observation. And generally, portals that will be used to pass to other dimensions are at the points that are projectionally reflected with a certain angle of the auras of these planets. Planets have auras just like our auras. The planet coming from the dimension above looks like a cream white planet. Both of the planets have to stay there. Think each dimension as a laundry. There is a certain rope. These 2 planets that are in all dimensions act as clothespin. Therefore, if there is no pin, the dimension will fly away. If you look enough, you will see them. Everything is an interwoven structure. This is why actually these planets are in the outermost system. But as descended inward of each, there becomes planets or stars that carry their effect. Nebula, which is close to Dog constellation, is the energy with the lowest vibration, and Sklantia, that is in the middle, of the series replication is the energy with the highest vibration. Therefore, in your system, the planet before Earth is born with the clashing of these two energies. But the clash here was not a severe clash. The creative power of the one with low vibration, as it becomes smaller, processes quicker compared to the one with high vibration. There is a system of interwoven stars and constellations within the dimension. In the smallest one, the creative power of the one with the low vibration processes quicker. That is why there is an upward movement from the lowest vibration, but when moved out, the exact opposite of this happens. Reptilians. At the planet of the reptilians, the intensity and physical matter states are different. There is land, hard areas on Earth, but it is not like this there. It is more like a sticky place. And the heat is so high there. This is why they have a structure that adapts itself there. Such structure has been formed in order to be in that clay. And for example, when they go deep in that clay, their respiratory systems work more differently. These beings don't need oxygen like us. The ones there existed with interaction of 80% from low dimension and of 20% from high dimension. The dayform percentage at that time, because God, our God, has just begun to exist, was at quite low level. In order for a God to increase its dayform percentage, it has to make creation of 10,588 trillion planets and stars. But this was something good for us. You may perceive this as bad or pity, but this was great. In order for an upper planet to be created and for the low vibrational actions, thoughts and feelings to exist there, a lower planet had to be created. In this way, the highest level of the consciousness there would form the lowest level of the planet one level up. Therefore, there was nothing funny here. Their behavior aimed completely to be the worst of the next one. In other words, the best of the place they existed. This is why they experience the things that are weird for you. And all the energies that you consider as the wicked and horrible, now such as cannibalism, are reflected in your experiences coming from there, and which is why you need to respect the souls there and honor these situations when you see these type of scenes here. One of the concepts that you misunderstand completely is this. When we say below world, actually we mean the world before you and the ones that are there. Therefore, God that you call God of that is the soul that came to that planet with the highest dayform percentage. And this soul that is called like this has actually incarnated on Earth. Because he knew the previous world, he came here to guide. And he came because the dayform piece that he had, the dayform percentage was high, and he had some capabilities and potential. He came to show you. It was not a God, but you called him God. Because he conveyed the way that he knows and the experience that he knows. Some of your people perceive reptilians as bad. Some call gods of that as bad, but this has nothing to do with our subject. When in your system and in other upper systems these kind of interactions happen, in other words, when one piece with high dayform percentage from both two pieces come to a planet that is more open to the most active experiences of those places, it needs souls to stabilize it. The continent of Mu, Atlantis, Egypt are actualizing consecutive to each other, not discontinuously from each other. Therefore, in fact, the thesis such as Atlantis fell and those people moved to Egypt is not true. Egypt was already determined towards the end of Atlantis, and there has been an orientation, a shift towards there by the people. Enlightenment will be experienced, but for a long time it will not be possible to catch, to reach techniques, the technology is there. Because in the beginning you were already united with your soul at home above. Therefore your creation here was according to it. Then your creation began to fall apart, but your connection with your soul was continuing. A dark period was experienced, and now you need at first to connect with your soul above, unite with it so that it can actualize technologies that you call magic. But right now, people who are on Earth with high awareness level and who define themselves as messengers of light will experience believing without magic and raise their awareness without magic. This is your common ascension aim.